Chosen one. Someone wealthy is coming for you. Not the kind of wealth you think of. Money stacked in vaults. Gold shining in the dark. No, this is different. This wealth wears many masks. It could be power. It could be influence. It could be knowledge. It could be temptation dressed as opportunity. And when it comes for you, it won't knock politely. It will arrive like a storm, demanding to know if you're ready. Because wealth doesn't just hand itself over. It tests, it seduces, it corrupts, it blesses. And the question isn't whether it's coming. It's whether you'll still recognize yourself when it arrives. Wealth arrives disguised, and that's the trick most never see. Everyone thinks they'll recognize it when it shows up. Bags of money, jewels, houses, cars, the obvious symbols of fortune. But that's not how it works, not when it's coming for you. Real wealth doesn't always shine. It doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes it looks like responsibility, heavy and suffocating. Sometimes it looks like betrayal dressed as friendship. Sometimes it looks like a chance so small you'd laugh at it if you weren't paying attention. And other times, it doesn't look like a gift at all. It feels like a burden, a weight you didn't ask for but can't escape. Wealth doesn't walk into your life waving a flag saying, "Here I am." It slips in wearing a mask, and the ones too blinded by their fantasies never notice it until it's too late. Think about it. If real wealth was obvious, everyone would grab it. Everyone would be rich in spirit, in power, in influence, in strength. But they're not. Most people miss it because they're staring at the wrong things. They think it's about cash, about status, about shiny toys. They're so distracted by the counterfeit that when true wealth shows up, they walk right past it. The chosen one is different. The chosen one notices the disguise. They feel the weight in their bones. They hear the whisper behind the noise. They recognize that what looks ordinary carries something extraordinary beneath the surface. That's why wealth comes for them, because they're the only ones who can see it for what it is. Wealth in disguise is dangerous, though. It tests you. It doesn't just hand you gifts and walk away. It makes you question yourself. It forces you to decide if you're going to grab it with both hands or let it pass by. And sometimes the disguise is cruel. It makes you doubt if it's even worth it. It might show up as failure first, as humiliation, as pain. And in those moments, most people crumble, never realizing the treasure was buried beneath the suffering. They curse their bad luck, not realizing they were standing on top of something priceless. Only the chosen one digs. Only the chosen one endures long enough to discover the truth hidden under the disguise. You have to understand, wealth is clever. It knows if it walked in naked, it would destroy you. Too much too soon burns people alive. That's why it hides. That's why it tests. It dresses itself in responsibility, in loss, in sacrifice, in temptation. Because it wants to see if you can handle what's underneath. If you can't handle the mask, you'll never survive the treasure. That's the secret. Wealth isn't about receiving. It's about proving you're ready to carry it. And most never are. They fall for the costume, or they run from it, or they collapse under its weight. So when wealth comes for you, don't expect glitter. Don't expect it to look the way you dreamed. Expect it to be wrapped in fire, hidden in shadows, disguised as something you wish you could avoid. That's how you'll know it's real. Because wealth isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to reveal you. It comes disguised because it wants to see if you're the kind who sees deeper than appearances, if you're the kind who understands that fortune doesn't knock on your door. It hides in the things you'd rather run from. And if you are, then when the disguise falls away, you'll stand face to face with something most will never even glimpse in their lifetimes. Power tests character more than poverty ever could. People love to romanticize the struggle, don't they? They say it's suffering that builds you, pain that shapes you, hunger that makes you strong. And yes, in a way it does. Poverty, hardship, failure, they teach lessons. They force you to adapt. They grind you down until you learn how to crawl forward with broken hands. But here's the twist. It's not suffering that truly reveals you. It's power. Because while poverty tests your endurance, power tests your soul. And most people fail. When you have nothing, choices are simple: survive or die. But when you hold power, real power, suddenly the choices multiply. Do you use it to build or destroy? Do you share it or hoard it? Do you twist it to feed your own hunger? Or do you carry it with the weight it deserves? That's when you find out who someone really is. Because power strips away the masks just as much as pain does. But instead of showing your scars, it shows your desires. Poverty exposes your limits, but power exposes your nature. The cruel truth is that most people think they'd handle power well. They imagine themselves noble, generous, wise, unshaken. They promise they'd never become corrupt, never betray, never lose themselves. But that's the great illusion. Because power doesn't ask you to become something new. It reveals what was always there, festering beneath the surface. The greed, the insecurity, the hunger for control, the fear of losing it once you've tasted it. Poverty can humble you, but power tempts you. And temptation has broken more souls than hunger ever did. It's easy to look strong when you're powerless. No one cares what you say when you have nothing to offer. Your words are cheap, your promises untested. But give someone power, even a little, and suddenly the cracks begin to show. Suddenly their voice changes, their eyes shift. Their hands tighten around the very thing they swore they'd never cling to. The chosen one, though, they're different. They don't worship power, and that's why they can carry it. They understand it's not a crown, but a mirror, reflecting back everything inside them. And if they haven't faced themselves, the mirror shatters them. That's why power is feared more than poverty by those who truly understand. Poverty can wound you, it can scar you, but it rarely corrupts you. Power corrupts because it whispers in your ear. It tells you you're untouchable. It convinces you you're above the very rules you once followed. And slowly, you stop being who you were, and you become what the power makes of you. Unless, of course, you're the one who bends the power instead of letting it bend you. That's the test. That's the razor's edge that so few can walk without falling. And when someone wealthy comes for you, bringing influence, opportunity, or control, remember, it's not the wealth itself you should be afraid of. It's the power that comes with it. Because poverty will show you how strong you are. But power will show you who you really are. And once you see it, you can't look away. Temptation hides inside opportunity, and that's the game most don't realize they're playing. When something shiny appears in front of you, when a door swings open you never thought you'd get near, you tell yourself it's a blessing. You convince yourself it's fate, luck, divine timing. But you don't stop to ask the real question. What's hiding behind it? Because every opportunity carries teeth. Every golden chance comes with claws. And if you grab too quickly, without seeing the hooks buried deep inside, you'll bleed before you even know what cut you. People love the idea of opportunity. They treat it like salvation. The golden ticket that changes everything. But that's the bait. The real trap is how it makes you blind. Opportunity promises gain, and in that promise, you forget to look for loss. You rush forward, eager, desperate, drunk on the idea that you're about to level up. And in that haze, temptation slithers in. Maybe it's the chance to take a shortcut. Maybe it's the offer to compromise a little piece of yourself for a bigger slice of the pie. Maybe it's power dressed as kindness. Maybe it's wealth wearing the mask of generosity. That's how temptation works. It doesn't knock on your door looking ugly. It comes dressed as everything you ever wanted, everything you've prayed for. And the test is whether you see the costume or fall for the show. The chosen one understands this. They don't jump at every open door because they know some doors lead to cages. They don't chase every shining thing because they know some treasures turn to ash the moment you touch them. Opportunity isn't always what it seems. It can be the sharpest form of temptation, a carefully placed illusion meant to see if you're willing to sell yourself cheap. And most do. They tell themselves, it's just this once. It's just a little compromise. But once you give in, once you trade a piece of yourself for the prize, you're hooked. Temptation doesn't need to take all of you at once. It just needs the first cut. After that, you bleed willingly. Think about how many lives have been ruined not by failure, but by success, not by poverty, but by opportunity. The downfall doesn't come when you have nothing. It comes when you suddenly have the chance to take everything. That's when temptation has its claws deepest in you. That's when it whispers, go ahead. No one will know. You deserve this. Take it. And if you're not strong enough to see through the disguise, you'll believe it. You'll take the bite. And by the time you realize it was poison, it's too late. Opportunity is the stage. Temptation is the actor. And they always arrive together. One gives you the spotlight. The other whispers what role you should play. The question is, will you play the part they hand you? Or will you tear up the script and write your own? Most people think being chosen means never being tempted, but it's the opposite. Being chosen means you'll be tempted more than anyone else, because the higher you're meant to climb, the more traps are laid in your path. Temptation is the shadow that follows opportunity, and the two are never far apart. So when that wealthy one comes for you, when opportunity arrives dressed in silk and gold, look closer. Don't stare at the gift. Stare at the shadow it casts. Don't just ask, "What can I gain?" Ask, "What might I lose?" Because temptation won't tell you. It will smile. It will charm. It will hold the door wide open, and it will dare you to walk through blind. The disguise is perfect, but the chosen one sees through it. The chosen one knows the truth. Temptation is always hiding inside opportunity, waiting for the ones too blind or too desperate to resist. People think destiny is this glowing path, laid out in front of them like some neat little road, full of flowers and sunshine. They think when it's their time, when they're the chosen one, everything just falls into place, all smooth, all perfect. But that's the biggest lie ever sold. Destiny isn't clean. It isn't simple. It isn't even comfortable. Destiny drags you through dirt. It pushes your face against the concrete. It laughs while you bleed and dares you to keep crawling. You don't get chosen because you're lucky. You get chosen because you can survive what others can't. You get chosen because you don't quit when it's unbearable. Because you keep going when every sane voice tells you to stop. People want destiny without the struggle. They want the throne without the scars. But the truth is, every step toward what you're meant for is lined with traps. Storms, betrayals, and pain. If you can't handle the fire, you'll burn before you even touch the crown. The wealthy one, the powerful one, the miracle you're waiting for. It won't save you if you're weak. Destiny isn't a gift, it's a test. Every trial you face is destiny asking you one question. Are you strong enough to carry what's coming? Because the higher the calling, the heavier the weight. Think of it this way. The storm isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to strip you. It rips away the fake friends, the fragile dreams, the illusions you've been clinging to. It leaves you bare, raw, exposed. And in that place, you see who you really are. That's the price of destiny. It doesn't hand itself to the person you pretend to be. It demands the truth of what you are underneath. That's why the road is ugly. That's why it's brutal. Because it isn't polishing your mask. It's carving out your core. And here's the part no one likes to admit. Most people run. They beg for destiny. They cry for purpose. They scream for greatness. But the moment the storm hits, they fold. They say, "This isn't fair. I didn't ask for this." But destiny doesn't care what you asked for. Destiny doesn't negotiate. It shows up when it wants. It puts you through hell, and it watches to see if you're stubborn enough to keep moving. If you collapse, then you were never chosen. If you endure, then you prove yourself worthy. It's that simple, that cruel, that beautiful. Pain becomes the filter. The storms become the proof. Every scar you carry isn't a curse. It's a signature. It's destiny's handwriting carved into your skin. reminding you that you didn't just walk the path. You survived it. That's what separates the chosen one from the rest. Not talent, not luck, not blessings handed on a silver plate. No, it's endurance. It's refusing to stop when everything in you screams to give up. It's spitting in the face of fear and saying, "You'll have to kill me before I quit." That's why storms come before wealth. That's why trials come before miracles. Because if destiny gave you the prize without the pain, you'd drop it the first time it got heavy. But when you've bled for it, when you've been torn apart for it, when you've lost everything and still kept walking, you don't just carry destiny, you own it. And no one can take that from you. So when you feel like the sky is collapsing, when the ground is cracking under your feet, when every door is slamming in your face, don't mistake it for punishment. It's proof. Proof that you've been marked, that you're being tested, that you're being prepared for something bigger than comfort. The storm is not the end. It's the forge. And the chosen one is always born in fire. Wealth isn't always coins and gold, not always bags of money or jewels shining under some spotlight. Sometimes wealth is a person. Sometimes it's someone walking toward you, carrying something you can't buy, something you can't steal, something the world itself had to shape and send your way. And here's the twist. This someone doesn't show up wrapped in glitter. No, they come disguised, hidden in chaos, often at the very moment you're ready to give up. That's destiny's little game. It waits until you're crawling on the floor, until your faith is thinner than paper, and then it whispers, "Look up. Here they come." Now, the dangerous part is this: most people miss them. They're too busy looking at the pain, too busy drowning in their own misery, too busy cursing life for being unfair. They don't even see the miracle standing in front of them. Because miracles don't always announce themselves with fireworks. Sometimes the wealthy one enters silently, with nothing but a word, a look, a small action that changes everything. And if you're blind, if your mind is locked on the storm, you'll let them walk past. You'll lose the one who was meant to pull you into your next chapter. That's the cruelty of destiny. It doesn't hand things to you on a silver plate. It demands awareness. It demands you to open your eyes in the middle of pain, to recognize what others are too blind to see. Because the chosen one isn't chosen for comfort. They're chosen because they notice. They notice opportunities where others see disasters. They notice people of value where others see nothing. They notice wealth in the form of wisdom, guidance, love, strength. And that recognition becomes their weapon. Think about it. The most dangerous thing you can do is underestimate someone sent to you. You laugh at them. You dismiss them. You ignore the quiet power they carry. But if they were sent, it's not by accident. The world doesn't waste resources. Every person who walks into your life at the breaking point is carrying a piece of your survival, your growth, your ascension. You don't have to worship them, but you better not be foolish enough to disregard them. Because the wealthy one isn't here to entertain you. They're here to shift you, And wealth, oh, it comes in strange forms. A sentence that wakes up your dead ambition. A connection that drags you out of obscurity. A hand that pulls you up when you've been abandoned. Sometimes wealth is simply someone refusing to let you stay the same. That's worth more than any treasure, more than any vault stacked with gold. Because real wealth multiplies. It doesn't fade. A person who pours strength into you doesn't just add to your life. They multiply your future. They create ripples. And those ripples echo far beyond your imagination. But here's where it gets dark. Not everyone who's chosen sees the value when it arrives. They insult it, mock it, or worse, try to destroy it. Out of fear, out of envy, out of their obsession with comfort. And when they do, destiny laughs. Because that wealth, that miracle, that person, it doesn't vanish. It simply shifts. It moves on to someone else. Someone with eyes wide enough to recognize it. That's how you lose everything. Not because you weren't chosen, but because you weren't awake. So ask yourself, when the wealthy one comes, will you be too broken to notice? Will you be too bitter, too blinded, too distracted by your suffering? Or will you have the guts to see past the chaos? To recognize that wealth doesn't always come in the form you expect. That's what separates the survivors from the rest. They know how to see. They know how to value what others miss. They don't wait for the lightning. They listen for the whisper. And that whisper changes everything. It changes the path, the fight, the outcome. It marks the moment where the chosen one shifts from surviving to ruling. And it only takes a single person, a single arrival, a single encounter for the tide to turn completely. That is the wealth walking toward you. And whether you recognize it or not will decide if you rise or if you stay crawling in the dirt forever. The chosen one always expects wealth to come with trumpets, with lights, with the world clapping their hands and saying, "Here, it's finally your time." But that's not how it works. Wealth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a parade. It comes quietly, almost secretly, slipping into your life like a shadow at the edge of the room. And the most brutal part is this. If you're not paying attention, if your eyes are too fixed on the noise of your struggle, you'll never notice it until it's gone. That's how most people lose everything. They think they're waiting for gold to fall from the sky, when in reality, gold walks right past them in the shape of a human being, a chance. A door cracked open for a moment and then slammed shut forever. You've been told that blessings look beautiful, that wealth comes wrapped in silk, that miracles glow with light. Lies. Sometimes wealth comes in rags. Sometimes it comes as a stranger who irritates you. Sometimes as a challenge that feels unbearable. It doesn't always look like help. It looks like chaos. And destiny watches, laughing, asking, will you dismiss it? Or will you have the vision to see what's hidden underneath? Because the wealthy one coming for you might not look like a savior at all. They might look ordinary, broken even. But what they carry inside them is the very thing you've been dying for. And that's the irony. The chosen one is tested by disguise. Life never hands you the obvious. It hides diamonds in dirt. It hides kings in beggars. It hides the ladder inside a storm. And only the ones sharp enough, awake enough, hungry enough, will recognize what's in front of them. Everyone else will laugh, turn away, and stay stuck. That's why only a few ever rise. Not because they're smarter or luckier, but because they pay attention when it matters. The wealthy one doesn't just bring material riches. No, the true wealth is transformation. They bring something that changes the way you see, the way you move, the way you fight. They spark a fire inside you that can't be put out. And that's worth more than gold, because gold can vanish. But a shift in who you are, that can't be stolen. That's permanent. It makes you untouchable. But you need to understand something cruel. This wealthy one won't stay forever. They are a moment, a flash, a divine interruption. They appear at the exact second you need them, and if you miss it, you don't get a replay. Destiny doesn't recycle gifts for the ungrateful. If you dismiss them, if you mock them, if you fail to value them, they'll vanish into the hands of someone who's ready. And you'll spend the rest of your life wondering why everything feels empty, why nothing seems to work, why the doors keep closing in your face. It's because you turned your back on the very thing meant to unlock you. And here's where it gets even darker. Sometimes the wealthy one doesn't come to save you. They come to expose you. They come to reveal whether you're ready for the next level, or whether you're still chained to your smallness. They don't hand you a gift, they hand you a mirror. They force you to confront who you are, and most people hate what they see. That's why they reject them. Not because the person has nothing to offer, but because what they offer requires change, and people are terrified of change. They'd rather stay in the mud than climb the mountain. The chosen one has no such luxury. The chosen one cannot afford blindness, cannot afford laziness, cannot afford pride. When the wealthy one comes, they must recognize it, seize it, hold it, and let it do its work. Because everything you've been waiting for, everything you've been dreaming of, everything you've been suffering for, it might all be locked inside a single encounter. One meeting, one moment, one decision. That's how thin the line is between ruin and breakthrough. So if you are chosen, prepare yourself. Not for flashing lights, not for obvious signs, but for the subtle, the hidden, the disguised. Because when someone wealthy comes for you, they won't look like what you imagined. They'll look like what you need. And the only question that matters is whether you'll see it before it passes you by.